Hello class! As promised, this is part 2 of our Transformers Robots in Disguise Scourge review. We're going to look at the truck now, the actual Scourge robot, before we looked at this huge beastly piece of, well, plastic. There's some metal in there too, but whoa, there we go. Really just stuff to hold together. Although, look at that, Scourge. Okay, we're done with this, I think. We looked at that, and if you are interested, I was able to retrieve all the missiles and stuff off of this thing. Ugh, so we can get that out of the way. And we can look at the actual truck here for Scourge. Now, this series was, Robots in Disguise is what, 10 years old now, I think, ish? Or at least the North American version. I'm not sure how old it is actually in Japan, because it was anime, right? We have a look at the truck. The colors are nice. We got the black and the, what, kind of teal? Turquoise? I don't know. I only see about 8 colors, really. Some of the gray here for some of the other parts. Smokestacks, they're short. I don't know if they were long when the first figure came out. As we know, this is a repaint of, what, Generation 2, I think it was Laser Rod Optimus Prime. But they decided to turn it black and red. Here we've got our Decepticon emblem, which is nice because we wouldn't realize otherwise that he was a Decepticon. Now, the one thing about this figure is that unlike the other Robots in Disguise figures, a lot of the new molds that they use for Robots in Disguise, the wheels had the rubber tires. This one does not. It's got the hard plastic wheels on them, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I know when it first came out, I was really impressed with the rubber tires, but the rubber tires I found would eventually split, and these heavy plastic ones have not. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. For a truck, you know, it rolls around really good. Got some detail. We've got the grill there in the chrome, like we had a lot of on the trailer, the tanker trailer thing. But okay, enough of the truck. We've looked at this long enough. Let's transform this guy. Now, as with most Optimus Primes, especially ones that form any kind of real-looking truck, it is going to transform more or less the same way. You can guess. The front of the cab here is going to be the upper torso, arms, and the head, and the back here is going to be the legs. And if that's what you guessed right. So, you can pull this down, you can fold these down, and boom, we've got his lower half. The top part, we're going to pull apart this way, pull his arms out, and we're going to fold down the shoulders, and then we are going to, if I can do this, pop down that part, and we're going to flip up his head. Adjust my camera a little bit, see if I can. Fold it down, slide it in place. There we go. And here we have Scourge in robot form. The difficulty level on the box said level 3, and I think that's largely due to the trailer. The trailer took a lot of work to do compared to the robot, which I guess is fair, but really it's not really that difficult of a transformation. So in terms of the color scheme, we see a lot of the gray on here. They still got the black from the truck. If you can see on the back here, he's got the translucent red on the back of his head. Lift his head up there a little bit. And that'll mean if we shine a light, we'll be able to see, well, you can see when I move my finger there, the light shines through the back of his head to make his eyes light up a little bit. Again, it's the black with the teal highlights. Can't see much of the chrome in this case. It's got the huge honking shoulder guards up here. All he needs is the really big kneecap pieces. You'd think he was designed by Rob Liefeld. But anyways, articulation. His head is going to go all the way around. We can, well, probably don't want to do that. Shoulders, we can rotate, not all the way, but we can do it pretty well back, not too much forward. And we can still move the arm up and down. There's a separate joint here for this part of the arm. He's got the rotation in the upper arm there, and his elbow does bend. Nothing in the wrists, nothing in the waist. Oh, sorry, I'm a liar. Yes, he can rotate his waist. It's been a while. His hips are on that kind of double joint there, so we can move it all the way out. and up and down. It's kind of nice how this figure has articulation that's not required simply for his transformation. The knee bends, no rotation this way, and the ankle can go back and forth a little bit. That's part of the transformation. Can't do much else with it that way. Now, in terms of accessories, he obviously had the trailer, which we're going to just leave over on the side somewhere because I don't want to dig it out again. I'm not too fond of the trailer, to be honest. You don't buy an Optimus Prime for the trailer, I hope. But here we have him. He's got a couple of bits. Now, we said we had this one laser cannon that we had when we were looking at the trailer. And we can take that, and we can give that to him as a hand weapon, which is actually kind of nice. It's a little bit stubby, but, you know, it's a big gun. And I'm a firm believer that any Optimus Prime should have a big gun. So, that's excellent. The other bit that he has, which might be more of the Japanese influence, we've got his laser sword here, the translucent red color. Big tip on here on the end so we can't hurt ourselves with it. And we can put that in his right hand. I guess he's a left-handed shot. And there you go. I don't know, some genius had the idea of let's take Optimus Prime and give him a big sword. I don't know who thought of that, but I'd like to shake his hand. Actually, it'd be fitting if it was an axe too, wouldn't it? But very awesome. In terms of posability, you know what, this figure's not bad. It's got some extra articulation that's more than necessary for his transformation, so you can do a little bit with him. It'd be nice if the legs here had that swivel point, but they don't. But otherwise, it's not too bad, all things considered. When you consider how old this figure is, it's, again, originally a Generation 2 figure. Now, in terms of the show, his character on the show, I honestly don't know. I watched, I think, the first episode, tried to gouge my eyes out, and then stopped watching it. I never watched Robots in Disguise, besides like the first pilot episode. I thought it was horrible, and I stopped. But it did produce some good figures, like they did reuse Optimus Prime to give us Scourge. And I think, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this figure started the trend where we take Optimus Prime, we paint him black in that teal, turquoise, gray, blue color, and we call him Scourge, or later on he becomes simply Nemesis Prime, and then people like me will buy it. So there we have it. Have a quick look at him a little bit more. Very good figure. I have no idea how much this would cost you on eBay or the toy shows now, but I imagine it'd be fair bit, because it's getting pretty old now. May have been exclusive to Toys R Us when it first came out. I'm not sure on that either anymore, because it was a little while ago. But if you see this, and you like Optimus Prime, it's worth picking up, because, you know, it's Optimus Prime, but with a big sword, and he's painted black, which makes him more badass. If I was going to give this figure a grade, this figure gets an A, easy. It's partly because I'm biased because it's Optimus Prime, and it's a black colored Optimus Prime, but it is a good figure. I don't really care for the trailer too much, but it doesn't really detract from it because you don't see it here. It's gone. I just got rid of it. So, I'm going to give this figure an A. I think that's about it for this lesson. We were looking at Transformers, Robots in Disguise, Decepticon, Scourge. I think that's it. Class dismissed.